Serbia have put themselves into the mix. England still top of the table, of course. They play Denmark at 5 o'clock, but Serbia are staying in it. Slovenia, heartbreak at the death there, 1-1, and plenty of drama. Second half that definitely delivered, Richie, in ways that maybe we weren't expecting, but that was a great 45 minutes.
It needed to deliver based on what we had to sit through in the first half. But yeah, we said at half-time the importance of good deliveries from wide areas, from set pieces, and that's the route to Serbia's best chances, and that's how they got the goal in the end. Fair play to them for keep going. The 95th minute, they send the goalkeeper up, which I think usually wreaks a little bit of havoc, just the goalkeeper being in the box. I just even think your presence being there just isn't...
Shay was giving it loads here in the studio, shouting for him to get up.
Yeah, it's just an unsettling presence, and I think we'll show the goal in due course. It was a decent header, but those players there, him in particular, would be absolutely good. It came so close to what would be qualification, I think, out of this group. If Slovenia had ended that game 1-0, they're on 4 points, and they'd be going into the final game against England with the only question as to whether or not they can win the group or not, which would be a remarkable set of circumstances. But it's not what they have now. They've to pick themselves up and go again.
They'll be devastated, though, Shay. Yeah. It's literally the last kick of the game.
Yeah, well, you can see, I think the manager's sort of saying that. It's easy to say that, but the emotions of being in that circle there now, it'll feel like a defeat. You're so close to getting the 3 points, and as Richard Wright says, so close to probably the knockout stage realistically, and then it just gets taken away. The last kick of the game, 95 minutes, they scored the equaliser, you know. So again, it's just it's an opportunity gone, but at the same time, I suppose that's the manager's job and the players' job is to park at the one side for the last game, of course, and it's against England, isn't it? So it's going to be a tough ask in the last game. They would have really fancied, you know, getting the 3 points here. But again, the second half was much better in the second half. We'll look at Mitrovic as well. Lots of chances in that second half as well.
And the mentality of that, because they go into that game, as Richie says, James, they could have easily been fighting it out for top spot. Now they're battling to get into the knockout stages. Complete flip in the space of 90 seconds.
Look, the immediate reaction will be as one of disappointment and frustration, but you know, they need to move off from that pretty quickly because they're still with a chance of going through. Look, it's going to be a tough ask because they've got a good England side. But, yeah, you have to get over the initial disappointment and look forward to the game, and you still have to win the game. So
for Serbia then, I mean, suddenly they're right back in it. For them, it's the complete flip of emotions, isn't it?
Oh, look, they were staring at going out of the competition, and they get a last-minute goal. So it'll be contrasting emotions from both sides, but now it gives them the chance to go into the last game, and it's all to play for.
If you're in their position, Shay, and you're thinking, OK, 1 point from 2 games, you've got that final game against Denmark on Tuesday, you win that, suddenly you're throwing yourself back into it, like just the emotion of the Serbians, who played well in the second half, in credit to them, where they didn't against England, and they certainly didn't in the first half, but they did manage to drag themselves back into the game and the tournament.
And didn't give up. I mean, that's the key thing as well. Even the fans, you can see the fans celebrating, the Serbian fans at the end, as if they've got a victory, because in their heads as well, players and fans are being, we can win the last game, we can still qualify, and it's amazing, just one touch of the ball and the whole thing flips upside down, because if that goal doesn't get, I'm stating the absolute obvious here, all them fans are on the way home, and the players as well on the way home. So it's just a massive moment in the whole tournament for them. Yeah,
massive moment in Group C, that's for sure, which will now go down to the final day. A lot of drama in that second half and lots for us to chat through. And I think, James, when Slovenia put themselves into the driving seat, they really just grew into the game with this one, didn't they?
No, they didn't. It was the first real moment of quality in the game. Like, the winger here makes it very easy, the first part. But what he does after this is brilliant. Like, cuts inside, continues his run.
Turns himself into a Roberto Carlos
he plays a lovely pass out wide, but he just doesn't admire the pass in. He shows desire and determination to get in the box. And then he obviously goes and finishes it off. Equally, as brilliant as his play was, like, the defending from Milinkovic-Savic is equally as bad. Like, the first tackle here, well, it's not even a tackle, it just lets him run by him. But here, you have an experienced senior player. He sees him twice and just lets him go. Now, that's just down to desire. Like,
but if you're in that team, are you not absolutely roaring at your teammates? Because the body language wasn't there from the Serbians.
I think someone needs to have a word with him, like, because it's not to say he doesn't recognise that he's there. He has 2 glances at him, and then it's just down to desire. He just lets him run, and he could have cost his team a place at the tournament and going out. So
he done the hard part. right. Like he ran the 50 or 60 yards with him, tracked them all the way. Like so many wide players don't do that. If their opposing fullback goes forward, they just
even the first tackle, like he's the one who makes the first tackle too, and he just turns his back and just lets him come inside him very easily. Like it's just all round bad play from like an experienced player.
He might be the most relieved man tonight because they eventually get the equaliser at the death, Richie, and in a lot of ways they probably deserved it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the man marking the goal scorer was Karničnik, who's had such a good game. He got the goal and he had a brilliant goal clearance. We talked all day, we can say it again and again, the difference that a quality ball into the box makes, which was an area of Serbians' play which was completely absent in the first half and it got better in the second half. And Jovic, you see there, number 2, Karničnik, he's got the hand on the shoulder of number 8, who's the goal scorer, and he's just trying to put the goal scorer, Jovic, off, but doesn't actually get off the ground himself to compete for the ball. And the presence of the goalkeeper there is probably putting everyone off, but they weren't at their best. Mitrovic had a quiet game in front of goal. Tadic, for all his chat about being, what did he say, the leader, the best player, I've got to start, I've got to be picked, didn't show it really today. I don't know what's being said to him in the dressing room now after all his talk, but they deserved the point probably in the end.
Yeah, and that's why I say they probably did, because they had a load of chances, loads of different things. But Mitrovic in particular, just, I mean, he should have had at least one goal.
We built him up before the game, didn't we, Jack? And we were hoping for big performance. He actually didn't play that bad, he just didn't score. I mean, I felt at one stage it was Mitrovic v All Black in the Slovenian goal. Again, this is the first half. Brilliant save from All Black, really quick off his line. And this was probably the start of the second half when he had another 1v1 situation. Tadic links up really well with Mitrovic. He gets through, and again, you know, All Black's so quick off his line, closed down the angle really, really quick. And it's another brilliant save. And you know, there's no replay, but it's brilliant bit of defending by the fullback who scored the goal, and it's Mitrovic's territory crossing the box header, and again another block from the defender, just gets a little nick on it, and I wouldn't say he played poorly, I really wouldn't. I think it's some brilliant blocks, brilliant saves, and just, you know, one of them days sometimes the striker's just, whatever you do, it's not going to go in the back of the net.
He's normally so reliable as well, isn't he? He's normally clinical for Serbia, and
it's some of that though just good Slovenian defending, because they're throwing themselves around.
It's good. It's a combination of good goalkeeping and good defending, but he'll be kicking himself that he didn't put at least one of them chances away.
A point earned though, Richie, all the same, you know, because from 20 minutes into the game they did not look like getting that.
No, they didn't. For the first half an hour, I think they were so awful. They were repeating the performance we saw from Slovenia in the first game, where we're looking at them going, this group need a shake. Like, it's not tactical stuff or technical stuff. It just, there was a kind of a lethargy about them. They were just passive. They weren't closing down the player on the ball. It was too easy to keep the ball away from them, and they gave it back to Slovenia every time they got it, which wasn't often. And in fairness to them, they regrouped at half-time and improved in the second half. I think, like, they did deserve the goal. They left it very late, but they're still in the tournament. And depending on the results, in an hour or so after this game, like, you could go into a scenario where they're all in it in the last game.
Yeah, well, which is great for the group.
Which would be great for us.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'd be great for everybody who's watching on the outside. I guess it's what do they do from here, though, Shay? Because, you know, Vlahovic came off, Tadic, we were talking about him maybe not being at his best. Mitrovic isn't firing. If they are to progress, certainly those top three need to have a big change.
I think the mad thing about it, when you watch it, they actually came alive after Slovenia got the nose in front. They sort of, as if it shook them into like some sort of urgency, and go, we're going out of the tournament if we don't do something. And probably their best sort of spell and their best chances and the most creative things happened after they went 1-0 down. And Richie's right, you know, you shouldn't need a shake to get, this is a major finals for your country. Like, they were playing not with an arrogance, but just a little bit of casual play and not tracking back. You know, the goals at class as the example. You know, and the mindset shouldn't be that. They shouldn't need a goal to go behind to actually shake them into some sort of performance, you know. So that will be a worry for me from a Serbian point of view.
You see it so often, don't you, the team, their urgency or their tempo or the intensity, they can increase it immediately once they concede a goal, and then you're left with the question going, why did it need that to happen for us to produce what we just did? And that's a psychological thing that the team need to work on.
It's probably scared they need it now. Yeah. Because they were heading out, and now they've got a chance in the last game to go through. So it's probably kick up the backside that that they needed in that scare.
Fear is a big motivator. Like if we don't score, those fans that were lobbing a load of things on the Slovenian players wouldn't have been happy with them at all.
Yeah, well, you're saying there's a chance now because Group C is absolutely alive.